So to begin, let's go behind the scenes of everyday life in Korea and talk about the U.S. ROC Combined Forces Command and hear about how CFC leaders and staff work together to make the mission happen. So from a soldier's perspective, Sergeant Major Payton, when you were the CFC Command Sergeant Major, you served as the primary advisor to the CFC Commander for all topics related to service members' care, training, and welfare, as well as their families. Would you mind giving us your insights, please, from your assignment there?
General King, thank you for the kind introduction. To our distinguished gentlemen, fellow panelists, and attendees in the audience, good morning and good evening. And I would like to thank KDVA and KUSAF for the opportunity to participate and share my thoughts and experiences today. So, General King, in response to your question, I consider myself fortunate to have had the opportunity to serve multiple tours in the great country of Korea. As you mentioned, the second was from 2016 to 18, but the first was from 1988 to 89. And I proudly can say that I was there during both Olympic sessions. So things were great for a young soldier as myself. And I can say unequivocally that my service in Korea and the CFC helped to shape me as a soldier and a person. Now, in my role as the CFC Command Sergeant Major, I was grateful to have had a commander in General Brooks who prioritized leader-to-lead engagement. The leaders of CFC clearly understood that mission accomplishment, in large part, depended upon the level of training of our service member, but as importantly, their family's welfare and quality of life, both in Korea and back in the United States. One of the command's most important battle rhythm events was battlefield circulation of the force, visiting and talking to US and Korean forces of CFC who worked and shared installations, as well as those that lived separately but consistently worked together. Now, during these visits, we received updates on the status of the command and the combined force, their training and service member needs. These visits required us as leaders to first listen to everyone in the command, from the commander of the organization down to the lance corporal, seaman apprentice, airman, and private. At the end of the day, whatever we learned, we shared with the CFC command and staff and ensured we were postured to sustain and improve the readiness of the force. I most appreciated the partnerships and relationships built between our Korean and US military forces throughout CFC. From a Command Sergeant Major's perspective, in talking and engaging with them, what was it that they most desired? More opportunities to train together, to hone their warfighting skills in order to know the people they expected to fight alongside. What did they most enjoy? The opportunities that working together gave them to gain a deeper understanding and appreciation for each other's culture. So as a CFC CSM, I was privileged to witness and experience the deep understanding of the shared sacrifices of the members of CFC, their service members and families. They completely understood that the CFC mission required every member to always be at a high state of readiness and ready to fight together tonight. Thank you for the question, sir.
Thank you, Sergeant Major. Vice Admiral Cooper, we'd love to hear your thoughts from a CFC component command's perspective, especially given that you were a fully integrated combined command operating and living together and while transitioning at the same time. Sir, the floor is yours.
Well, first of all, thanks so much for the great privilege to join such a distinguished group of panelists and leaders. It's quite humbling and a great honor. Let me just start by framing my perspective from a component commander with the same statement that I have told every audience since I left Korea for the last 4 years. And in simple terms, my professional experience and my personal experience and my family's experience in Korea during our time there was the most rewarding that I've had in my entire career among every tour, and they've all been great, including this one in particular. So I think that gives you a sense of the meaningful, the impactful nature of my time there, and most importantly, the relationships that were formed, and we can talk about some of those. Professionally, why was it so fulfilling? First of all, I had what every commander dreams of from General Brooks. That was a long leash to execute my duties and do it in a way with a lot of creativity. The shift that we had from Yongsan down to Busan during my tour helped that significantly. And it helped it because it allows us to serve shoulder to shoulder with the ROK Navy, opening up opportunities that frankly were just not operationally possible when you were geographically separated. And then second, I got great insight into the impact of tactical and operational decisions on the strategic environment, and quite frankly, vice versa. For the Navy in particular, I think you can easily appreciate how a patrol along the northern limit line in a combined effort, which is a very tactical maneuver, requires enormous coordination among navies, and in my experience, is not replicated anywhere else because of the significance of the strategic impact of those types of patrols. So very, very unique. I will tell you that during my time there, we also had enormous integration among tactical and operational units, aircraft carriers serving with ROK Navy as escorts, which is quite unusual around the world, but quite positive. Submarine interaction, the ROK Navy submarine force is elite among world submarine forces. And so these types of pieces all brought together create just a very unique environment. And all of which, the best of which of all that was the working side by side with our distinguished ROK Navy counterparts. Now, of course, it's one thing to say that you're shoulder to shoulder. It's a whole other thing, and even better, to actually physically be shoulder to shoulder. Uniquely around the world in Busan, it's the only place for the Navy where we have a US Navy headquarters on another country's base, and I think it's a model for the world. It worked out wonderfully. Everyone enjoyed it, enormous fulfillment. And to give you a sense of the fulfillment, not just from me, but among others, we went for a full year where every sailor who was assigned to Navy Forces Korea, they could have transferred back to the United States or to another command, but instead of doing so, they elected to remain in Korea. They volunteered to extend. I think that gives you a sense of the depth of their experience. And then if I could just shift to my own personal experience and my wife's in Busan, because we're not on a U.S. military base, we're out in town. We're living with the people. We got to completely immerse ourselves in the culture. If you wake up in the morning and you realize you don't have any eggs or milk, guess what? You better walk to your Korean neighbor and speak Korean to get it. Otherwise, you're going to be really hungry for some period of time. That creates a dynamic that I think is so unique. We made great friends that we've retained since then. I look forward, and we stay in touch via social media. And I would just close and simply say that my wife and I, left the country after having completely fallen in love, and look forward to coming back at every opportunity. So thanks so much.
That's a great way to start this discussion. So gentlemen, thank you for setting this strong foundation of our panel.